Welcome to Smash Bracket, the show dedicated to finding out who is canonically the strongest character in Super Smash Bros. And then animating a giant tournament to solve that question. If you're new to the channel, or you're coming from other Versus series, there are a few rules that make this series unique. I'm going to throw these on screen right now so that you can see everything, but let's run through these one at a time. Starting with number 1. Feats must be demonstrated in either gameplay or cutscenes to be considered viable. If a character brags about themselves or has somebody else make an unsubstantiated claim about their power, it will be disregarded unless it is also backed up by viable feats. For example, a character can't just say, "I am immortal and faster than the speed of thought," and have us take it as fact if they don't demonstrate those abilities somewhere else. Feats have to be demonstrable, not just implied. Additionally, some games, especially multiplayer games, will have characters perform actions for the sake of convenience, such as being able to teleport to player 1. These feats will almost always be ignored. Similarly, some other multiplayer games will give characters certain abilities that would otherwise be improbable, such as double jumping in Super Smash Bros. These abilities are also going to be ignored unless backed up in mainline canon. Official statements about a character, for example interviews with directors or game manuals, will be taken into account, but only if there are feats to support what is said in-game. These statements are held to the same standard as other feats. Rule number 2. From time to time, characters will have insanely powerful feats as outliers, often in service of a gag. These won't be entirely disregarded, but they do need to be backed up by aforementioned viable feats and/or lore in order to be treated super seriously. We'll make sure to note these when they come up. There's a time and a place for outliers, gags, and Toon Force, but this series generally won't be taking those into account. That being said, if a character has had many unsubstantiated claims about their power, but they then go on to perform a massive outlier feat, a situation like this will be considered to be much more valid since there's lore backing it up. These situations are going to be weighed on a case-by-case basis, and this does not automatically guarantee acceptance of the feat. And on the subject of gag feats or outlier feats, any feats done in a multiplayer minigame such as Mario Party are going to be disregarded, especially if other characters can perform the exact same feat, and if what they show is not backed up by canon. Rule number 3. Each character's universe likely operates off of its own physics and reality. This makes comparing two different universes really messy. So for the sake of consistency and our own sanity, we're going to assume that all of these battles take place on Earth with the physics that we know about. Obviously, some things like light speed or magic are going to be difficult to measure, but using our knowledge of reality, we're going to be able to apply a more consistent standard than we would be able to in another universe. That means we need to look at each situation objectively. If someone is shown to survive a black hole, does it actually behave like a black hole? Or if they survive a huge explosion, does it actually behave like a huge explosion, etc. In rare cases, we might know enough about a character's world in order to change some calculations, such as learning that a planet has different gravity than Earth, but we will try to keep physics as Earth-central as possible. Number 4. Powerscaling is a very dangerous game to play, and it's going to be avoided wherever possible. Just because character A can beat character B, and then character B went on to beat character C, we can't say that A is stronger than C, and we certainly can't attribute the feats of any of the beaten fighters to the victors. Just because one character beat another in a fight doesn't mean that they can do everything that character can do. There are far too many variables in a fight for this kind of logic to work. There will be times, though, where we can make some comparisons. Once again, if character A beat character B in a race, and then B went on to beat C, in that same kind of race, it will mean that A is almost always faster than C. This is a very consistent measurement, and it's one that's easy to do. With some of the stronger fighters in Smash, just surviving a confrontation with them can be enough of a feat worth mentioning in and of itself. We also should note that there's some characters who have managed to kill gods or higher dimensional beings, but all the same, the rules apply to figuring out how strong that character is, and just calling them a god killer is a meaningless term and it does nothing to represent their strength. Rule number 5. Fights can be won via pacification, incapacitation, or death. Characters do not need to be killed in order to lose, just taken out of the fight. This is going to help keep fights with supposedly unkillable characters interesting. And lastly, number 6. I am only going to be considering canon versions of the characters that we see in Smash. For the most part, this means that I'm only sticking to their video game appearances, but there are a few notable exceptions. Many characters have multiple versions of their canon, or canon that's unclear. When these cases arise, I'm going to use whatever sources align most with what we see in their Smash appearances. And there you go, those are the rules of the Smash bracket. With these rules, you might notice that some characters who have previously been discussed as incredibly powerful are going to be a lot more grounded. This is very intentionally done. By having a rule set like this, we're able to apply it evenly to every single character in Smash, and it keeps the truly powerful and incredible characters feeling that way. After all, when everybody is super, then nobody is. I hope you go on to enjoy Smash Bracket, and we will see you in the next Smash Bracket video. Thank you for watching.